Perfect. Thank you very much. So, thank you for. It's a pleasure for me to be here today to present a little bit what we are doing at Genethon. So, Genethon remain a very unique organization within the gene therapy field. Genethon was created over 30 years ago by the French Patient Association for Myopathies and Muscular Dystrophies, and as such we remain a non-for-profit organization. Just let me give you some key dates that have formed our history. 1992 has been the date where we have, the year where we have published the first human genome mapping in Nature. 2009, this is an important year where we discovered that AAV9 could pass the blood-brain barrier. And also we have, for the first time, proven efficacy of an AAV9 based gene therapy in SMA, and this has been the foundation of a number of patents that are now behind Zolgensma. In 2017, we have spun off our GMP manufacturing facility in a CDMO called Iposcesi. Today is one of the leading manufacturing sites for gene therapy in Europe. In 2020 is the year we have published, together with Spark Therapeutics and Inserm, for the first time on the fact that we could treat non-human primates that were seropositive, so they had neutralizing antibodies for AAV. We were able to pre-treat them with IDES, with endopeptidase, and demonstrate efficacy for the first time in seropositive animals of an AAV-based gene therapy. So today, Genethon is 200 people, of which about 180 dedicated to research and development. We have published more than 1,500 articles over the years, and we have filed more than 1,000 patents. We have 13 clinical trials, either at Genethon or coming from Genethon, ongoing, and we have 6 programs that will be ready in the coming year to start clinical trials. So we haven't done that alone. Of course, besides collaborating with some of the industry leaders in gene therapy, we have also partnered with a number of world-class academic institutions over the years. And you recognize some of the key names both in Europe as well as in the United States. So the research team at Genethon is a mixed unit of about 100 people. And it's embedded within Genethon is a unit of Inserm. Inserm is the equivalent of NIH in France. We have four key therapeutic areas and 5 leaders. All of them are academic, but they work within Genethon. And so this is an interesting model to really catalyze innovation and come out with a number of new interesting programs. So we have one team dedicated to neuromuscular disease, one team dedicated to dystrophies. We also have a team that is working on immune and blood disorders, and a team dedicated to metabolic disorders. I'm going to show you in the coming slides our pipeline. So with regards to everything to do with the muscle, which is one of the core activity at Genethon, one of the key missions, we have today one important asset in Duchenne and microdystrophy NASH that on which we are working, is in the clinic, and we're working with Sarepta. We also have a number of programs in limb girdle muscular dystrophies, and these programs have been spun off in a new company called Atamayo. And the most advanced is FKRP, and the first patient has been just dosed a few weeks ago. So this is an important milestone. We also have a number of preclinical programs, and I'm going to talk to you a little bit about that now in the coming slides. So among the limb girdle muscular dystrophies, just a few points on calpain. Calpain is the largest, the most frequent of the limb girdle muscular dystrophies, and we have a program in preclinical today. It was a Genethon, and today is with Atamayo. That is original because it has a novel vector that is able to de-target the liver. And it's proven to be interesting in terms of the preclinical results and the safety profile. The second important preclinical asset we have in the muscle is a program in Duchenne. We call it casdystrophin. So we use a dual vector, and it's the same vector as calpain, so it's a proprietary vector able to detarget the liver. And we have been able to have a larger version of microdystrophin that has additional domain that should be important in terms of, for example, the satellite cell activities as well as the prevention of ischemia. So this is a program in preclinical, and we think we could achieve a better efficacy than the treatment option that are in the clinic today in Duchenne in gene therapy. And a last program that I wanted to share with you on in the muscle is an important program for Genethon. It's an ultra-rare disease derived by an acid ceramidase deficiency. It can have a different form. In the most severe form, the Farber disease, children do not survive beyond 1 or 2 years. And another form is what is called SMA-PME. It's a form of muscular atrophy with severe epileptic disorders, and the children will not survive beyond 15 years. There's no cure today, and so we are developing a gene therapy based on AAV9, and we are hoping to start the clinic next year. So the second pipeline I wanted to share with you is in metabolic disorders and in the liver. And we have a number of assets, and the most advanced one is an asset in Krieger-Najjar. That today is in the clinic, and we're about to start the pivotal trial. So let me tell you a little bit about Krieger-Najjar. Krieger-Najjar is a disease that affects few hundred patients worldwide. It's due to a mutation that doesn't allow the degradation of bilirubin. And so there is, as a consequence, a very high level of unconjugated bilirubin in the plasma that is toxic, and it can be lethal. There is no cure today apart from liver transplantation. And otherwise, the patient has to live basically for a vast majority of their day, about 12 hours a day, under phototherapy. And after a certain number of years, phototherapy reduces activity. So we have an AAV8-based gene therapy. We have run a dose-escalating trial. It's been completed with 2 doses, 2 and 5 to the 12 VG per kilo. And based on this study, I'm going to show you the results in a minute. We were able to prepare the pivotal that will start very soon. So here you find the results of those escalating studies. So the first 2 curves, the blue and the green, are the 2 patients that were treated with a lower dose. And you can see that there is the baseline is the phototherapy, and then the gene therapy is being administered, and immediately there is a decrease on bilirubin. It's a very simple it's a very simple biomarker to follow up the course of this disease. But the first 2 doses didn't allow the achievement of the primary endpoint, which was stopping phototherapy at week 16. But with the second dose, a higher dose, a 5 to the 12 VG per kilo, we treated 3 patients, and the 3 achieved the primary endpoint. And today we have much more data collected. The first patient has been off phototherapy for 2 years, so this was a very important milestone, and the other 2 are achieving the same milestone. So based on this data, we were able to prepare, as I said, the pivotal study. So some of the key priorities that we have at Genethon, first of all, is finding additional ways to enhance the efficacy of gene therapy. The second is that we have a relatively large team that is fully dedicated to everything to do with immunomodulation, and how we can find strategy to either redose or those patients that have pre-existing neutralizing antibodies. We also recognize the importance of process development and innovation in process development to try to reduce the cost of manufacturing of gene therapy. And for that, we have a team of 40 people that just work on process developments, and a large part of them works on innovation. I'm going to show you a little bit what we do with that. And then the last point, and this is really important for an organization like Genethon, is everything to do on how we help access to gene therapy of patients, knowing that about 70 to 80% of rare disease are ultra rare. They affect only a few hundred patients. And so how can we, there is no, when you have only a few hundred patients between Europe and US, it's very difficult to find a classic viable economic model. So how can we find different ways of financing this program so the more patients, the more diseases are targeted by gene therapy? And in that sense, Genethon has been the only European organization that joined the NIH Foundation initiative called Bespoke Gene Therapy. There's a large consortium with a number of large pharma companies as well as the FDA, and it's dedicated to ultra-rare disease, and now we can find solutions to reduce costs and accelerate development of gene therapy, AAV-based gene therapy for this type of ultra-rare disease. So with regards to the first pillar, enhance efficacy, we work on a novel platform of novel AAV-based capsid with the idea to try to enhance the organ tropism and also increase the manufacturing yield. We also have a gene editing platform based on hematopoietic stem cell, kind of leveraging the capacity of this type of cell to produce, to express large, abundant quantity of protein. And this is a very interesting platform. It's ex vivo. It can apply for different kinds of diseases. And finally, with regards to the immunomodulation approach, just the two words of this work that was published in Nature Medicine in 2020. As I mentioned earlier in the presentation, it's the first time, and it's been worked on by Genethon, Spark Therapeutics as in CERN. It's the first time that we were demonstrating the ability to treat a seropositive non-human primate pre-treated with endopeptidase, which is an enzyme able to cleave antibodies with an AAV treatments, and the results are extremely encouraging. And they could open up for the first time the possibility to treat patients that have pre-existing antibodies, which could be up to 30 to 40% of the population. And this work has been the subject of a patent, has been just granted in Europe. And then with regards to everything to do with process development, this is something that we believe strongly has to be at the center of a big priority for us, because it's the only way to try to increase productivity, increase yield, and reduce cost for gene therapy. So we try to tackle the matter upstream, downstream, with a number of projects looking at new expression systems, new transfecting agents, increase the quality of the gene therapy products and the analytical methods. So in terms of our partnering strategy, this is key for Genethon. We are a non-for-profit organization. We cannot tap into the venture capital funding or the public funding, so we really live through partnership, and we are very proud to have been able to collaborate with some of the industry leaders. And we also have created 3 spin-off. GenoSafe, there is one of the industry leader, is a CRO for quality control, very strongly implanted in Europe and expanding in the US. We also, as mentioned earlier, we have created a GMP manufacturing facility, Iposchesi, that today works as a CDMO, and has been recently acquired by SK, the South Korean conglomerate. And finally, we have created for the first time a spin-off in therapeutics, Isatamayo, fully dedicated to limb-girdle muscular dystrophies. So thank you very much for your attention.